Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities are Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life.
Like I've said before in these videos, I think the economy could eventually wind up somewhere between where it is now, what I like to call Recession Hill, and what I like to call Mount Doom.
Yes, you're in deep doo now.
I've also told you about my belief that even if the chances of something happening are really remote, if the consequences are really bad, like your house burning down, it pays to take out some insurance against that possibility. So how could you possibly insure yourself against Mount Doom? Well, I don't think it'd be a smart idea to call AIG and ask for a quote. Seriously though, we have to keep one thing in mind. Socioeconomic and political events can literally tear apart the fabric of civilized society. Hurricane Katrina was a natural disaster, but it taught us some important lessons. Faced with a breakdown in basic services for even a couple days, and people lost it. We also learned that a lack of organized response from officials made things really bad. Here's another example I like to use. This was the capital of Yugoslavia. Pretty modern city. They even had the Olympics there in 1984. They changed the country's name to Bosnia, had one little armed conflict, and the whole place turned to crap. So what if it's not just a recession? What if things really do turn to crap? How can you prepare for that? We've been conditioned all our lives to, well, kind of a manufactured idea of what's necessary for survival. We're going to have to think a different way. Back to my future think, right? We got to think about the true basics, because the time might come that you might be reduced to trying to provide food, water, and warm shelter for yourself. How can you do that? A lot of people have started stocking up, buying a few extra canned goods, maybe a bag of rice, some bottled water. I think everybody does need to do some of that. But remember, if things really do come apart, it might last a long time, not just a few months' worth of canned goods. We've got to learn new skills. Think about providing those canned goods for ourselves, but on a permanent basis. Thinking outside the box. How could we provide water for ourselves on a long-term basis? Or keep our home warm? There's a YouTuber you've probably watched. His name's Superfaith. Sorry, Justin, I don't mean to pick on you. I'm observant enough to notice that Superfaith lives in an apartment or condominium. I also notice there's a big sunny patch out back by the carports. He could convince his manager to let he and a few of his neighbors put in a community garden, for example. Everybody can do something to prepare. You just have to be creative. Even if you're living practically in a tent, there's something you can do. Sorry, George, don't mean to pick on you. So here's a random thought. A lot of people would like to get their hands on some gold. But if you're poor like me, you can't afford it, let alone get your hands on the real stuff. The idea is that you could trade that gold for food or something you might need in the future. But if you've got the food, or something else somebody wants really bad in the future, they'll probably be bringing the gold to you at a lot less cost than you'd pay for it right now. So what do I mean by all this rambling on that I've been doing? I think we all need to take out some insurance on the future. Get creative. Concentrate on the basics, the bare necessities of life. We can't rely on the powers that be either. They could go belly up on us. We've got to learn new skills. Think long term. Learn to scrounge the materials we need. And use our imagination and the materials we do have available to meet those basic needs. The big question is, you know what might be coming. So are you going to meet that possibility with despair? Or are you going to do whatever you might have to get by in the future? It's just my 2 cents worth.